What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I'm your host, Pee Wee the Plug, and it's that time of the year. We get to talk about NBA draft stuff. Y'all know I love the NBA draft. But we got Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. They faced off a couple nights ago. They're facing off again in a couple of hours as I record this video. Gets no better than having the two top prospects go head-to-head. Just once is amazing, but to get it twice in a short time, phenomenal. That's a round of applause for the G League and the NBA and everybody that put that together, because that was just a genius idea first and foremost. But breaking down the game, let's get right into the game. Victor Wembanyama, 37 points, 7 threes, 5 blocks, only 4 rebounds. Definitely want to see more rebounding. We'll get into that. But I mean, when you talk about a showcasing for a guy that is projected to be the #1 overall pick, you already have outlets saying this is the most coveted or hype prospect in the last 20 plus years. When you get that tagline thrown around your name, when you have a showcasing like this, it's almost like video game-esque. You know what I mean? When 2K puts you in a my career situation to be in a showcase, you try to go out and have the type of performance that he had. It's very, very video game-esque. And for him to be 7-4, showcasing everything that he did in that game, there's going to be a lot of teams this year accepting the tank. And we're going to get to that as well in the video. But starting out, just me watching him in this game in particular, I've seen bits and pieces of him throughout the last couple of years, obviously. But this was my first time seeing him in this light of just playing, you know, in this situation where he's showcasing himself. He looks a lot more mature than I remembered. But I love what they did for him. Got him bringing up the basketball. He played freely. It wasn't anything forced, it looked like, ever with him throughout the course of this game. He made a lot of buckets for them, especially in that third quarter. Hit a lot of big-time threes when they eventually took the lead and were trying to fight to pull out the win. One thing I do say when we talk about wanting to see more of, especially in like today's game when they face off for the second time, I definitely want to see him rebound a lot more. For him to be 7'4" and have that size with that wingspan, 4 rebounds should be something that he's getting in a quarter, or that should be a disappointing half of rebounding for him. And that's just me nitpicking. But when you see somebody of that size, the first thing that stands out and throughout the game is, damn, he's not getting a lot of rebounds. Even if you didn't have a chance to watch the game and you saw the box score, when you see the information with this guy and you look and you see he had more blocks than rebounds, that's not, you know what I mean? That don't seem right. So I want to see him get more rebounds, utilizing that size on the glass more. But everything else was phenomenal. I think some of the parts that might go underlooked because it doesn't show up in a box score is the impact he has when he's able to knock down shots that he was making. There was a lot of plays I've seen through the course of the game where so much attention was shifted to him that it opened up a lot of shot opportunities for his teammates. That was something that I don't think I heard a lot of people talking about. The shot making obviously is off the charts. It stood out. It dominated the headlines. It dominated the talking points. Anytime his name is brought up, his shot making ability at that size, the fluidity, you know, isolations, off the catch, pick and pop, transition, you know, trailer. There's a lot of different ways he's making these threes, top of the key, corner. So that was definitely impressive, and I understood why it dominated the conversations whenever his name came up after this performance. But the overall attention that he is going to command is going to be so unique for a rookie player when he comes into the league that it's going to open up a lot. And I want to see some more passing from him. I want to see how much he can handle being the overall offensive hub for a team. And we got to understand he is extremely young, still developing and growing like that. But just for me, I really want to see them use him more, you know, as a passer and a playmaker, because he is going to attend so much attention whenever he has the basketball and sometimes when he doesn't have the basketball. A lot of what I saw in the game when he was commanding attention, it was through the pick and roll. He's picking and popping, he's picking and rolling, mismatch here and there. So now you got the defense scrambling because they don't want a 6'2" or 6'4". Hell, even a 6'9" guy is small on him. So everybody's out of whack trying to make sure they double team or show or crowd. And the next thing you know, he ain't even got the ball yet, and you just swing to the opposite corner, and boom, somebody has a wide open three. And as long as you have teammates around him that's going to be able to knock down those shots, which he probably will at the next level in the NBA, he's going to be a dangerous threat. But I want to see him have the ball in the post, trying to go at a double team and be able to make the read and make the pass himself, which we didn't get to see a lot of in that particular game. It was more perimeter centric. So overall, from Victor, I mean, like I said, when you talk about a showcasing for a guy who has that much hype around his name and that much anticipation, as far as going into this draft, he answered the calls. He answered the call well. He made some big shots, and what I liked about him is the flair. He's not like a thin, frail, shy kid who's just, out there trying to make it. Like, nah. It looked like Vic got some dog in him. I seen him make a couple shots and look at the G League Ignite bench. I seen him shaking his head. I seen them losing and they shaking hands after the game. And he just kind of like, man, whatever. We lost. I'm trying to get back to the locker room. I'm not even here for all of that. He's confident. And I think that's important for a lot of young guys who are going to have this much hype. There's a fine line between arrogance, confidence, and just, foolishness. And what I like to see from both Scoot and Vic is they have a certain demeanor that they carry that I don't know them personally, but when I watch it on the court, it doesn't strike me as arrogance or somebody that's on cloud nine thinking that they better than their teammates on the floor. But it's a dog that like, man, I got something to prove. Even with me being a projected #1 pick, me being a projected top 2 pick, there's still so much I have to prove. And I'm trying to come out here every single night and show that I'm that guy. I am him. There is no doubt in what I can do. And to see them bickering back and forth in just a competitive way was a sight to see. You know what I mean? They are battling, so after the game, they can take pictures, they can shake hands, but when they on the floor between them lines, it's time to prove who's the top dog. And I got that energy from both of them. And like I said, that's a very unique situation. And I'm hoping that same type of energy can be replicated in today's game as the end closer at their double headline matchup. So as far as Scoot though, I walked away from this game a little bit more impressed with him. Because like I said, I'm familiar with Victor Wembanyama, everything he did, seen him be able to do. He made a lot more shots, so he had 37 points or whatnot. Phenomenal, shot it at a 63-something% clip, and it ain't nothing to take away from Vic. But what I mean by Scoot is when you have somebody like Vic, right, who's 7'4", bringing up the ball, he's making all these shots, he's doing all these things, it's easy for guys to press too hard or want it more, try to outdo themselves or play irregular and have a bad performance. Scoot came out, said, okay, this is the guy all y'all talking about. I'm up there with him. I'm just as good. I'm not going to fold. I'm not going to be rattled. I'm not going to come out and try to do too much and be uncharacteristic from who I am. I'm going to still do me. I'm going to still answer the call. And we going to win this game. And I'm going to come out handling my business. And that's what I saw from him. He didn't try to chuck up a whole bunch of threes because Victor is 7'4" and the shot blocker. No, there is so many plays throughout this game where Scoot Henderson successfully, might I add, attacked and challenged Victor Wembanyama at the cup and converted. Reverse layup here, going at you there, like literally going at him, no fear in his mind. And like I said, was successful at it. For me, that is a very big sign because a lot of guys, even in the NBA or college basketball that are athletic guards like Scoot, they get neutralized when they see somebody, when they have somebody in the paint of that size and that reach and that caliber of shot blocking. They either get neutralized or you start to see them overthink. They're pulling up for a lot more jump shots or taking a lot of more shots from the perimeter. It gets them out of rhythm or out of whack, and they don't have the same pep to the step. Not Scoot. Scoot on a couple times went right at him. There was also a play in particular where they got matched up through a pick and roll switch, and Scoot isolation went at him, stepped back, shot over him, made the three. And that to me said a lot. The numbers are going to be the numbers, and Victor is going to dominate the headlines with 37 points, 7 threes, 5 blocks, as he should. Phenomenal performance. Like I said, not taking anything away from Vic. But for Scoot to be the quote-unquote underdog or to be living in, Victor Wembanyama's light, and for him to still come out with a performance of his own that held just as much weight. I mean, 28 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He shot 50% from the field. He shot 60% from 3. He did everything Victor did, except he just did it in a not 7'4", size. He did it at 6'2". So that said a lot for me, and ultimately he got the win. And what I liked about his game is very to the point. I think there's value in having a game like Scoot Henderson. He's not playing around with the ball. He obviously has his ISO package and his moves to size up his guy and to get where he needs to get to. But I don't feel like it's a bunch of wasted movement. I don't feel like he's trying to be and one mixtape. He's getting to that mid-range shot, and that's my favorite part of his game. For a guy that's as explosive as him, as strong, as fast, and as crafty around the rim to be able to reverse layup, dunk, fly. He can catch a body or two if in the right situation. But for him to be so comfortable in the mid-range, to pull up, to be able to switch gears from going 100 miles an hour to be able to hit the brakes and then pull up, that's such a dynamic thing that guys who are 18-year-old point guards don't have in their game. That's not something that's regular. That took years for John Walls and Derrick Roses to add to their game. I'm a guy who's seen those guys when they were the same age as Scoot, and it took years of NBA development for them to have that into their game. So for Scoot to already be able to have that at the mid-range level is oh man. Oh man, it gives me so many ideas of what I'm picturing in his NBA game, because the NBA game is going to be with more better talent, probably even more spacing, and more legit shooters surrounded by him. So you're really going to be a mismatch problem, if he's having a lot of situations one-on-one and he's collapsing defenses and he's able to kick it out to reliable shooters, maybe a more reliable lob threat, because the big on the G League Ignite, he's not, he's a little undersized, but imagine a real 7-footer being paired with Scoot Henderson. It shows me a lot. Pick and roll game is already crisp, already a solid decision maker, knows how to manipulate defenses with his finishing ability and his explosiveness towards the rim. I seen him parlay a lot of those plays into dump downs to the big man that was on the G League Ignite. I saw him hit some shooters, and like I said, the comfort in the mid-range opens up so much for him offensively that's going to be dangerous. And the more and more he grows with the three-point shot, that's a cherry on top. For me, though, the mid-range for him is key. It's key. Of course, you want every guard to be able to knock down shots from the three-point line in today's game, but that mid-range game is always going to be very, very vital for strong, explosive, athletic point guards. It's always going to be key for them, because sometimes it's about not getting all the way to the rim. Sometimes you're going to have a Rudy Gobert in there. And if you don't have the in-between game, the Rudy Goberts, the Victor Wembanyamas in a few years are going to neutralize you. So you want to have that in-between game where you're not settling from three, but you're not maybe getting all the way to the basket, and you have that pull-up game and you feel comfortable in the mid-range. So I love that about him. All in all, to have two guys like this separate themselves from a class is extremely unique. I don't know the last time we've seen this, where two guys legitimately separated themselves. Maybe Zion and Ja. Even then, I think a lot of people still had R.J. Barrett in the back end of that conversation, and we still have an entire college basketball season to go through, and maybe we can have somebody else join the party for all I know. But for them two, I see a big margin that's starting to separate already. And like I said, of course, we have college basketball where anything is possible. Somebody else can definitely get into the mix for all I know. But it seems like this is going to be a draft class where there's going to be a lot of teams tanking, and they're going to want one for sure. A lot of teams are going to want Victor without a doubt. 7-4, bringing the ball up, 7 3-points made, 5 blocks. And that's just a glimpse. That's just one glimpse of a showcasing. We have tonight, when we have the rest of this year for him to continue to show and build and develop. I'm getting Anthony Davis vibes from him. I'm getting that Pelicans Anthony Davis that everybody around the league was falling in love with, just in a bigger size. You know what I mean? Everybody was loving the versatility and the different ways that you could play and imagine Anthony Davis. And then it got to the point where it's like Anthony Davis don't want to play center, but if Vic is already 7'4" and he's already playing center, it's like this is Anthony Davis on steroids. He has the thin frail, which you want to see him add the muscle to, obviously, to fill out. That's always going to have people with their questions and concerns, the same way it did for Chet. Even when he got the ball, when it wasn't in the three-point area, it was in the mid-post, just the face-up game and the mid-range shots he was taking, very Anthony Davis-esque. The shot blocking at a high level is just like Anthony Davis at Kentucky. The fluidity, just like a young Anthony Davis. So I think that's who I get the feel from when I see Victor, because you're obviously not going to be able to pinpoint a specific comparison because he is so unique. He is so unicornish. But I get an Anthony Davis feel. A lot of people are probably going to throw out the Porzingis because he is a 7-footer. He is like 7'4". But I think he's a lot more fluid than I remember Porzingis being when he first entered the league. And even now, I know Porzingis had his injuries and his knee procedures and whatnot, but he's way more fluid than I could ever imagine Porzingis being. And then for Scoot, a name a lot of y'all may not even remember or recognize, or maybe you'll know his son more than him. But DeJuan Wagner, Cleveland Cavaliers, right before LeBron came, that's what I get that vibe from Scoot. Very explosive, 6'2", strong. Can make the shots, especially in the mid-range area. And I think Scoot's going to be able to shoot the 3-ball very, very comfortably because he won't have to rely on it. It'll just be another weapon in the utility bag. But he reminds me of DeJuan Wagner, man. Definitely reminds me of DeJuan Wagner. DeJuan Wagner had a very good game, short-lived career due to injuries and whatnot and a health scare. But DeJuan Wagner, if you know, you know. DeJuan Wagner had major, major, major game. And these days, his son, DeJuan Wagner Jr., is dominating the headlines a lot more. But I definitely see that for Scoot. As far as teams, I got teams right here on my monitor I'm looking at. So the Celtics are going to be a playoff team. Brooklyn Knicks are going to be all right. 76ers, Raptors, Bulls, all of the Cavaliers. All those teams are going to be probably a little bit competitive enough to not be in the number one pick conversation. But then I'm starting to look at teams like the Thunder. Could Sam Presti and the Thunder say, let's do it one more year, man. Let's tank it out one more year. Chet and Vic, same court. Let's do it one more year. Chet is already out for the majority of the year. One more year. Could we see the Thunder doing that? We got Greg Popovich, a press conference saying, hey, anybody going to Vegas, don't bet on us to win the championship. I know he was doing that to be funny, but the Spurs definitely don't look good to me. Could Pop get a rejuvenation with Victor? Could that be his new Tim Duncan, so to speak? The Utah Jazz. Do the Utah Jazz cash in on everything they went through this offseason that fast and secure one of these guys? I mean, to lose Rudy and then to get Victor the very following year would be crazy. Don't know how much him and his team would like that. I definitely get the feel that these guys want to be in the biggest markets for sure. And, not that San Antonio or OKC are big markets, but Utah is just known to not get the best expression from players, especially youthful players. The Orlando Magic. I think the Magic are a lot better than people project. The Hornets. Could the Hornets fold and say this is a good chance to pair our young guy LaMelo with a running mate? LaMelo and Scoot, LaMelo and Vic. I could see them fitting with both of them. The Hornets already are behind the 8 ball if they have Miles Bridges as far as being a competitive playoff team. I know Steve Clifford likes to compete. I just look at that roster and I see the rest of the East. I don't get the vision. So could they fold their hands, have a fire sale, and go completely young, where we start to see Book Knight, JT Thor, Kai Jones, Mark Williams get really valuable minutes, and Gordon Hayward is traded, maybe Terry Rozier is traded, Kelly Oubre is traded, Mason Plumlee could go, PJ Washington if you even want. The Rockets already have so much. Could they get a Scoot Henderson, Jalen Green backcourt? Victor Wembanyama, Jabari Smith frontcourt. Even though you have Şengün, if you had a chance to get Victor, you have to take that. So it's a lot of teams that I think could commit to tanking, and it's going to be very interesting to see who gets the top 2 picks, because it's not a for sure thing where it's like, oh, I know Utah is going to be the for sure worst team. The Spurs could literally be the worst team in the league. And there's so many teams that I think may have been iffy, but if they commit to it fast enough, they'll put themselves in position to have a shot. So that's going to be something to watch very closely. Make sure y'all tune in to when they do play. If you haven't, get in tune with both of these guys. I love it. We get in early draft conversations and things. College basketball right around the corner. It's going to be such a fun year. I appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, this is NBA Weekly. I'm Pee Wee the Plug. I'm out. Peace.